So the Chiefs got an incredible update today from head coach Andy Reid about key players that have been missing time due to injuries. And this news should make things much more difficult on their opponents to start the season. However, there's still a pretty big question mark concerning the running back room due to health issues that I've got to get into, as well as the game plan for this upcoming preseason game and more. But first, how about those? All right, first up, Andy Reid spoke with the media today, mentioning the players who will not be practicing today as follows. Defensive back Nazeeh Johnson, hamstring. He also mentioned the knee, so knee/hamstring. Defensive end Truman Jones, knee. Chris Jones, shoulder. McCade Matire, MCL. Long snapper James Winchester, shoulder. And finally, Hollywood Brown, shoulder/clavicle. Nazeeh has a slight hamstring strain from Saturday's game against the Lions. This is something he's wrestled with during training camp, a little bit of a hamstring issue on the same knee he had repaired, that ACL that he tore and had repaired, but he did think Nazeeh did a good job in the game. He played well and looked good in man coverage. He's just a little sore coming out of the game. Then regarding Truman Jones, all we got about him is that, quote, his knee is bothering him a little bit after this game. Then, defensive tackle Chris Jones is coming back from the shoulder stinger he had a couple weeks ago, but is feeling much better. Next up, McCade Matire is still out with the MCL, though sadly, Andy didn't give any more details on the severity of the MCL tear. However, Jordan Foote of Sports Illustrated reported that the Chiefs actually waived McCade with an injury designation to make room for a player they signed today. And I'll get to who that is in a second, but first, here's the context of how they got to this point. This is who it involves. The next player on the injury report that Andy said wouldn't practice today is long snapper James Winchester, who has an AC joint sprain that he sustained in the first punt of the preseason game against the Lions. He left for a little bit in that game, then returned and played the remainder of the game after halftime, but Andy said they are going to hold him out for Thursday's matchup against the Bears while he heals up. And that begged the question of, what are the Chiefs going to do with Winchester out? Surely they're not going to ask Noah Gray to do it again like he had to do in the Lions game, right? Well, he did a nice job considering Gray has never long snapped before in his life, from what I understand. But no, Andy said they are signing a center to temporarily long snap for this week's game while Winchester rests. And that center is actually Randen Plattner out of KSU. Plattner is a Missouri native who played 5 seasons in college, logging 62 games with the Wildcats. He appeared in all 13 games this past season, and some say he was one of the best or top long snappers in college football over the last couple of years. He went undrafted but signed with the Ravens afterward as a UDFA, and now finds himself very close to home with the Chiefs. And honestly, if he impresses the team enough, you never know what the future could hold for him, considering James Winchester is 35 and is only on a 1-year deal. I mean, I'm not in a hurry to move on from Winchester by any means, but if Plattner impresses enough in his limited chances this Thursday, KC could remember that if Winchester isn't around next year. Then lastly, for the players who won't practice today, no surprise with this one, but that is Hollywood Brown, as he still is healing up after sustaining that sternoclavicular dislocation in that first preseason game. Hollywood most likely will miss week 1, even though Andy Reid didn't completely rule him out of playing against the Ravens. On that note, I did want to share that Andy Reid had some very good news today when asked about the guys on the roster that are battling injury and whether or not they will be good to go for the season opener. But before I do, if you're looking for the best app to feed your Chiefs fandom, from A+ Chiefs merch and memorabilia to rewards, leaderboards, and even no-fee tickets to Arrowhead, then look no further than to the sponsor of today's video, Autograph. I'm serious when I say I love this app. I can get all my Chiefs news right in one place, whether it's articles from multiple sites that cover the Chiefs, to audio podcasts or videos from friends in the space like RGR, among others, even tweets, or I guess now referred to as posts from Twitter/X. It's all there in one place. They've made it fun for the community too. You can get ranked and level up and even see how you stack up across other fans of your team on Autograph's leaderboards. Leveling up even unlocks unique rewards such as discounted tickets, signed memorabilia, and more. So you can literally do what you've been doing as a diehard Chiefs fan, consuming content, and get real rewards for it. Sign me up. And if that wasn't enough, you can buy tickets straight from the app, and these tickets do not have fees. That's why Autograph can now say they offer the most inexpensive sports tickets anywhere online. And lastly, Autograph has a brand new feature that serves up a daily Morning Brew-esque everything you need to know about your favorite team update. For example, what happened on this day in Chiefs history? What's the biggest trending news around the current active dynasty? Search no further. Autograph has you covered each and every day. So what are you waiting for? Download the Autograph app now and start getting rewarded for all the things you already do as a fan. It's that simple. Just make sure you use my code HBTChiefs when you download the app by searching your preferred app store or clicking the link in the description down below. All right, next up, let's get to this very positive update from Andy Reid regarding almost every single player that's been battling injuries since OTAs and training camp, because it looks like all of them, except for maybe Hollywood Brown, will be playing in the season opener.
Yeah, I think all those guys will be. Right. The only one in question would probably be Hollywood.
Juwan Taylor.
Yeah. That should be ready.
Well, that's some great freaking news. That includes some heavy hitters and means that left guard Joe Thuney, right tackle Juwan Taylor, linebacker Nick Bolton, safety Justin Reid, and defensive tackle Chris Jones are among those who should all suit up and play against Baltimore. I mean, that is the best case scenario here. We desperately need Chris Jones along the D-line as they build pretty much everything around him in the trenches. Nick Bolton holds it down as the Mike linebacker, and Justin Reid is a core staple of the secondary. So to hear that they are all returning is incredible news. Then on the offensive side of the ball, Joe Thuney has been the best pass-blocking guard in the NFL over the last 3 years. So to have him playing next to the rookie, Kingsley Suamataia, is only going to further help him. Andy Reid spoke highly of the rookie, by the way, and what he's seen out of him so far in preseason, saying he's done some good things. Pass pro was solid last week, and his run game was actually very good. After the reps on Saturday, Kingsley came out with some technique things that he can be working on. Andy Heck had a couple of teachable things for him that he can now take into the regular season. Then, to have Juwan Taylor back as the right tackle is a big deal. He might have had a penalty-filled 2023, but he finished the season strong and is clearly an upgrade over Lucas Niang, who filled in for Taylor in last week's preseason game. This is going to allow for the O-line to be the strongest for Mahomes as he navigates the offense, most likely without the team's perceived to be wide receiver one in Marquise Hollywood Brown. And that's no shade to Rashee Rice either, who had a fantastic training camp and caught 4 passes in last week's preseason game. In fact, I think he's going to feast this season, as it looks like a suspension is also not coming for him, possibly until afterwards. And speaking of receivers, Justin Watson spoke to the media today, complimenting Rice as he enters year 2 of his NFL career. Watson said that Rice this year, so the very beginning of this year compared to the end of last, has already taken a massive step forward and is one of the leaders in the room despite his age. He then complimented another young receiver in rookie wideout Xavier Worthy, saying he's lightning fast, and to see him process the game fast and use his IQ plus his speed out there, making good decisions to recognize the coverage that allowed him to get open for that touchdown in last week's preseason game was awesome. Then, as Watson enters his 3rd year with the team, he's spending time on the little things, getting on the same page with Mahomes in particular aspects of his routes, timing and adjustments made in real time based on coverages post-snap. He watches film from last year with Pat and is building on that for this season as the team adapts and evolves. Then, Watson is a guy who had a bit of an injury scare early on in camp. Thankfully, the injury wasn't worse than it was. He gave a shout out to head trainer Rick Burkholder and company for helping him get right quickly, and is happy to be back out there and feeling really good. And we're going to need him. With Hollywood Brown out, Justin Watson is the next man up on the pecking order. He can run and was a valuable target for the team on 3rd downs, and that is exactly what Andy Reid said. Justin Watson has been a valuable guy to the team. He was tremendous for the team last year on 3rd down. He's smart, can play all the different receiver spots, and can go all day. Specifically mentioning he thinks Justin Watson can run like a deer. I think that's a good thing. Big Red then mentioned that for this Thursday's game against the Bears, they will be resting the starters. That's pretty typical for the 3rd preseason game. But Andy Reid explained the coaching staff uses a combination of training camp plays and preseason snaps to evaluate players. And this year, they actually had about 50 more snaps to evaluate players at camp compared to last due to not getting rained out during a single practice. And if they did get practice rained out, that means they practiced inside the indoor facility and you couldn't get as many plays in. So because of that, he doesn't feel any need to evaluate any more of the starters, With the rest of the players, though, he's not looking at any position group in particular, but both sides of the ball struggled last game at blocking and tackling. And with cutdown day coming, this will give the 2s, 3s, and 4s more playing time and more opportunities for evaluation. There's going to be some tough moves coming up, which is why he likes to give these bubble guys extra play. There's good competition, and he's curious to see how they'll do. He also gave a bit of a health update regarding Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who missed over half of training camp due to illness. But before I get to that, Andy also spoke about the ever so interesting cornerback battle going on. He said they've got guys who can play the position, but he wants to see Jaylen Watson out there and play a bit to see where he's at. So, while Andy said the starters won't play, we might see Jaylen Watson potentially get some reps in this Thursday, since he's missed basically all of OTA's training camp and preseason so far, as he's been recovering from having shoulder surgery in the offseason. And that's a good idea, in my opinion. And if that is indeed the case, I'm excited to see Watson out there and in action. Andy then mentioned that the cornerback 2 spot might be a bit of a trial by committee with Snead gone as they head into the season. There's guys that can play and have progressed outside of Watson, who hasn't yet played, but it doesn't really seem like anyone has yet locked down that spot. A cornerback, though, who for sure is starting, is going to be the first team All-Pro himself, Trent McDuffie. He spoke with the media today as well and said the guys are coming along nice, their communication's improving, they ask the right questions, and while they don't do everything right, the key is, how do they bounce back from it on the next play? McDuffie personally doesn't care where they have him playing out there, saying wherever Coach Spags needs him, he's going to go play. Inside, outside, doesn't matter. He wants to perfect his game either way, and it's been a lot of fun for him honing in on his technique. Now, another guy we've all been honing in on is running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's a guy that's been battling with flare-ups of PTSD and another neurological issue called cyclic vomiting syndrome. That basically has him going through bouts of vomiting spells at random, and that forces him to go to the hospital and get IVs for hydration. It's been a pretty tough thing on him, and it's made the running back room even more of a question mark to me, from a depth perspective at least, because even with CEH healthy, I still question the depth just a little bit. Andy actually spoke on Clyde's situation a bit today, and here's what he initially had to say.
We're just playing it kind of by ear and how he feels. He started feeling better the day of the game, and then he's felt pretty good yesterday. So we're headed in the right direction here. It's a sensitive deal. We're trying to learn as we go here with it.
And when asked if there's a possibility Clyde could go to IR or some list like that while he gets better, Andy said he hasn't even gone there with it, but Brett Veach might have a plan in place if needs be. He hasn't talked with Veach about it yet. Right now, the goal is just to get CEH back out there, make sure he's comfortable where he can function. It's kind of a new thing that they're wading through, as they get through this in real time, though the goal was for CEH to practice today, and simply they will see how he does from there. So yeah, we will see what ends up becoming of CEH. If he doesn't get well soon, the Chiefs will probably need to consider bringing in a vet of some sort, unless they think Pacheco, second-year Deneric Prince, who has very little real game experience, and a rookie UDFA in Carson Steele is going to be enough. I mean, surely there's somebody else out there available, cough Jerick McKinnon, or maybe another guy who ends up available after teams cut down their rosters. We will certainly find out either way very soon. Hopefully CEH improves health-wise, as I hate seeing anybody going through such a tough time. And with that, let me know your thoughts on the situation and what the Chiefs should do about the running back room, given the uncertainty there. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?